Dr. Hospital, welcome. Well,
Well, great to be here. It's good to be here with you. We want to invite everyone to join us. Let's talk Liberia. Let's talk about issues confronting the country. We hope that tonight we can have other people join us as we discuss Liberia. So many things happening in the country, so many things. And I look forward to discussing some of them, finding ways out how we can work together as Liberians to improve the conditions of our people and to improve the overall condition of our country. Liberia too deserves better, and I hope that through our collective voice, our collective interaction here, that we can make Liberia a better place. Like I always say, there is nowhere better than home. So, Arthur, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I saw the link and I decided to join. Yeah,
Great.
thanks for the conversation. Yeah.
thank you, and welcome everyone. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Night Day Exchange. You can catch up on Liberia Watch News on YouTube and Facebook. We're here, like my brother Cindy said, to talk Liberia. Thank you for once again. We're sorry. We'll keep apologizing until we get it right. They shows you that started at 12 o'clock Liberia time and 8 o'clock Eastern Central, right? So we're here. We're still trying to get things together, and we thank you, Arthur, for joining us again. And we're here. If you're watching us, can you please share the show? Subscribe on YouTube, share it, and like, and let's come and talk Liberia. As Sunny said, a lot of things going on in the country today. We're gonna be talking about considering this war between Senator Dillon and or should I say the Senate and the Labor Minister, and we have a little addition to that from the civil service. What's the name?
The Civil Service Agency, yeah, the managing director there.
Yeah. So we had something added there, and so we will continue the whole. I think it goes into the Asala Mita saga too, and we also had something to talk about concerning the case. There's rumors going around and audios going around that this first suspect who's supposed to be the alleged prime suspect who ran away, Sandy and Arthur. I think he was brought back in and he's in prison now. And there's an audio going around alleging that the government paid him to lie on Speaker Kofa and stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about that too. So we're first going to start up on the minister. So first of all, let's start on what's on our minds, Arthur. Maybe you're not familiar with it. We'll let Cindy start, and then maybe from there you can follow.
Yeah, there are several things on my mind. Like you said, the issue of the labor ministry will be discussed tonight. That is on my mind. It concerns employment. I continue to flag the issue of our country not completely connected. But we want to commend the administration, the current administration, for working on the road leading to my county of Grand that is being worked on. So we want to commend them. I want to also encourage our government to keep working on improving tourism. We saw a report that came out of Ghana today, highlighting major countries where most of their tourists come from to visit Ghana. And we saw that on the top of that list is the United States. Ghana is making billions of dollars, US dollars, from tourism. Small country like Rwanda is making billions from tourism. Sierra Leone, our neighbor, is making a lot of money from tourism. And I continue to argue that none of those countries have anything better than Liberia can offer. We have natural resources that folks can come and see. I mean, we have rainforests, we have the Atlantic Ocean, we have, national parks that we just need to improve. So I want to keep encouraging the government. Let work on the issue of tourism. Let connect the roads. Grand Cape Mom is a beautiful spot. We need to improve that area. We need to connect the road there, and then encourage tourism so that Liberia too can benefit from this global enterprise that is tourism that every other countries around us are benefiting from. So that is on my mind, and I hope to see that improve in my country. Thank you.
Okay. Arthur, what's on your mind tonight? Welcome, Arthur. Can you tell us what's on your mind before we get into the discussion?
Yeah, thank you. I think one thing that is on my mind is the manner and the form in which we as citizens, we are handling our political system. I know when one group of people come to power, they believe that their inner cycle should be the only people to get rich, and because of that, that inner cycle becomes the priest singer, the priest, everything in the country. We do not fight to build a middle class. We do not fight to uplift the standard of living. Most of the systems in this country, so long if we want to fight to favor us politically, we ignore some of the laws. And all these things are not really helping us as a country to unite. And like our brother said, because of that, our fear to unite has led us to do a lot of things that we're not even encourage tourism. All right, the political stability that Ghana has had over the years really helped because even the opposition in Ghana, except when election is coming, but our opposition becomes much more of a loyal opposition. Wherein you are a little bit passive, you are not too progressive in terms of causing serious problem in the country. You just wish that you can be able to document and catalog most of the things that are happening in time for election, then you go to election. But after election, everybody focus on development. I think I want to see in our country for us to reduce the tension and see how we can work together as a country to move our nation forward. And I think that's one thing on my mind.
All right.
I know that is just what's on his mind, but I just want to say also I agree with you.
Yeah, me too.
The other countries around us, like you mentioned Ghana. There's a season for politics, and there's a season for patriotism.
Hmm.
When it is time for campaign, we campaign, we battle, we talk against one another, we present our ideas. In fact, in other countries during campaign time, they don't fight the way we see how we fight in Liberia. Campaign
Really?
time is supposed to be when you present your ideas. And then when that time period is done, when someone is elected, when a team is elected to lead the country, like you said, we should come together as a nation, ease the tension. That would encourage foreigners, others to want to visit your country. But when we have the rising tension that we see in Liberia, no one want to visit, no one want to partake in that. So yeah, I mean that's a very good point.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
I know this is Arthur what was on his mind, but it's a little touchy for every one of us because we always speak on these things. So since you brought it up, I just wanted to say something to that. What can we do? Because we sit on these platforms, right, and talk about these things all the time and try to let our people know, the young people who are all over the place. There's no job. The government is not doing this. The government is not doing that. We're not having that. We're not having that. But these are the same people who are being used, right, to get in the street because their politicians are not the one there. I mean, how do we let these people know to be more patriotic than to be partisan? Arthur, how do you think we can let them? How do you think that can happen in Liberia? Because it seems not to be whatever we said on this platform seems not to be resonating. What is your advice on that? How do you think we can do this?
I think in my mind we need to look at um, it holistically, and that is when you look at the political system we have in the country, it's all about winner takes all. And when you have the takes all, it becomes very difficult to even convince the opponent to be loyal to the country.
But is that unique to
So
Liberia?
I think it's not unique to only Liberia in Africa, but some of those other countries in Europe and America that are developing, it is because winner does not really take all. All right. If you look at the United States, you always talk about bipartisanship approach on a lot of national issues, a lot of bills that should be passed to progress. You realize that both the ruling and that of the opposition, or people really don't call it opposition because what are you opposing? You
Right.
know, people who just did not win, they all work on bipartisanship approach. And, if you win, you call in the other people and tell them, look, let us work together. All right. Any idea you people have in the industry like transportation, how can we improve that? You are in power. You have some other opportunities. All right. In agriculture, do you have any concept of bringing companies and and we can be able to work with you and do this? So when they see the opposition leaders, like we call it in Liberia, working in the country, developing factories and then doing other meaningful things, bringing in partners, you realize that the supporters will reduce the tension because the leaders are supporting. But if you have a country where, so long you're in opposition and you try to bring a company, and everybody will stifle that whole move and make it difficult for you to register, and it's just difficult as a country. And when we start to do that, we'll bring everything down. So I think it should be a time where maybe it may not be in this generation because I can tell you from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s, even to the 90s, the politics we have in this country is all about scheming. You realize that even those who are in power, they do not want even some of the followers to be in power. They don't, because when they are in power, they feel that they will compete with them. So they just pretend to say, "Oh look, we will want to improve this, we want to," but in the end, when they see you are a little bit smarter than some of them, and you want to push an idea to develop yourself and develop your community, they just work something we call scheming in Liberia. They pretend to say that it is good, we'll work with you, but as soon as you leave, and they put that down, and then you are not moving forward. So I would just want to end up by saying we need to develop a whole new breed of national leaders, young leaders. Maybe after 2029, 2036, those group of young people will now come and take on that paradigm shift because 2026 or the 2036 we have a whole new. There'll be the current leadership will not be there. That is the past leadership. We just the CBC and the former president. We are when election goes well, he will not be maybe in the lead to take over. So we'll now be looking for new breed of political leaders in 2036, and maybe at that time we can be able to discuss some of these concepts. But for now, it's all about CDC and Unity Party.
Right. So this is that was going to be my question to Cindy. I'm going to ask if what Arthur talking about is it possible? Because I remember a few months ago in the Senate, the vice president was pleading with the Senate, right? This is we election is over. We're already here. Let's do the Liberian people business. Let's work together. Like what you're saying, Mr. Arthur. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then you had some CDC lawmakers and other people in there partisan out here saying that should we help you so you can look good? Why should we help you? So like that's the concept. It's not about the country. It's all about the party looking good. If I help you create job, if I help you bring investors, it's not for Liberia. It's for the Unity Party. So, Cindy, like what he was just explaining, is that possible? What kind of mindset with our people right now? Is it possible at all to work together when another party is there? From what I heard, and I was stunned when I heard stuff like that.
It is possible, but I agree with Arthur. It will take time.
Oh,
It will take time. It will take a lot of reinventing the wheel. It would take a lot of innovation. It would take leadership. Now, what we have been introduced to post-conflict Liberia is this partisan syndrome,
Right.
where everyone wants to look good on the at the political party side, whether it affect the country or not, but they want to look good in the presence of their political leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it is on all of us using this platform to continue to promote the image of our country. We must help to breed new leaders that will take Liberia, like Arthur said, few years from now, maybe past 2029. Now, our leaders, those in government, we must also encourage them to start promoting Liberia, the image of our country across the various county. People become patriotic when they start to see that your national agenda fits with their daily needs, that you actually have an agenda that promotes Liberia, that you have an agenda that is not election based, that you have an agenda that is in the interest of Liberia.
Right.
We should encourage youth participations in our politics, right? We should. I also believe that when we start to hold people accountable, when ordinary citizens start to see that people are being held accountable, that our justice system reinforces trust in the country, and not just in the leaders, people will start to see that the image of the country is being uplifted. When our leaders start to prioritize the education system, culture, tourism that we just talked about, healthcare, and they start to trickle down in the various communities, in the various counties, and our people start to see what can we have. Let's start with identifying ourselves as Liberian, our Liberian clothes, clothes that other countries like Ghana, they promote their country by promoting their culture, their tradition, their culture club, things like that. The young generation, when they start to see those things happening, they will start to love their country. They will create that love for their country, that natural love for their country. I was not around prior to the war, but I'm told that us Liberians, the Liberians were hesitant to actually leave the country. That's what I was told. That the people loved the country so much that there were only few Liberians who were interested to travel out.
Wow.
But we have lost that sense of belonging. We have lost that culture, the value of our culture. Now, our leaders, people will do what you as a leader is doing. When your leaders are leaving the country for their health care, when your leaders are sending their children out of the country for their education, when your leaders steal the money and go out of and go buy properties in other countries and come and boasting on national TV, how will you as an ordinary person love the country?
Follow the leader.
We need to change the mind of our people, but our leaders need to also change how they are conducting themselves and how they are leading the country at the moment. It will take time, but it's possible.
Do you think there should be a law in the country in order to enforce these things, like all election laws, like if whoever wants to run for office and stuff, you should live in the country, you should have your family here, you should do everything in the country in order for you to do your job, that would do things that would be benefit to the country. Because if you're there and your families are there, I think you have no choice but to do the right thing. I, do we think that there should be some kind of law, election law like that in the country for people to suddenly, or you think these people were willing just give up whatever what they already know doing? You're muted.
No, I just say maybe Arthur can speak on that, then I can come in
Yeah, go
if you want
ahead.
to address that.
Mr. Arthur.
So I think the issue about setting, human um, behavior sometimes it is very difficult to be regulated, but I think it has to be regulated. So
Yeah.
if it is not regulated, but I think any person that is his first mandate will be if you do not have a children in Liberia, you cannot benefit from certain kinds of opportunities. You know, so those who have the children here, we have this percentage, the health
You to me
care.
kind of low. Is it me?
I think, like I'm saying, because if you're saying a law, the Constitution talks about free movement. So you cannot infringe on anybody's right if they want their family to live out of the country. It is so if one of the president can say, if you want to work in my government, you must have a farm. But you cannot force anybody under the law. As long as you are a minister, you must have a farm. And I think that kind of law will be draconic. And the other people around the world will believe that you are not just to your people because you have the will if they want to be farmer or not. You have the will if they want their children to live in the country or not. So for me, I think it has to come from the leader. It must be a policy.
Okay.
And to
Cindy.
add to that, there are laws in the country that says for you to run for election, certain the representatives, senators, president, you must stay in the country for a certain period of time, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But do we enforce those laws?
I just gonna
No.
ask.
So we have laws, but our problem is the enforcement of those laws. I know several people that just leave the diaspora, go to Liberia and run for election.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that the people are start defeating them now. Now that our people are very smart. Everybody that left the U.S. ran in my district, Boston district in Grand they were defeated. Thank God. But we have the law. Those people left from here were living here and close to election to do the back and forth, lie to the NEC, register, and vote. I mean, and ran. We need to start with enforcing the laws we have. We have law. And I agree with us on this one. You cannot tell somebody don't send your child to the US, to anywhere, or don't go anywhere for medical care, or don't send your child anywhere for education to obtain their education. Once you are using your just benefit to do that, it doesn't matter. We don't care. If I send working in Liberia, I'm making 5,000 a month, and I use my 5,000 to educate my children in London or in the US, that's my 5,000. Where the problem comes in is that we allow Seli to steal from the Liberian people because Seli cannot use his 5,000. His 5,000 is not enough to sustain him in Liberia and to sustain his children in the US. Seli now become corrupt. He starts stealing from the Liberian people, and we do not use the justice system to punish Seli. That's where the problem is. So we need to fight corruption. We cannot stop Sandy from going to the US for medical care as long as he's using his own money. But we must ensure that Sandy is not using the Liberian people money, stealing from the Liberian people. And we
So
must ensure, 1 second, that while Sandy children are in the US acquiring the best of education, we must ensure that Sandy advocate and ensure that the ordinary Liberian people also have the better infrastructure, the education infrastructure they need, the medical services they need, that it must also be enforced in Liberia.
the reason of my question right there because once Sandy has his family out of Liberia, when Sandy can fly out of Liberia whenever he wants, I don't think Sandy and I think that's what's going on. Sandy would not be, uh, 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 serious about making what he has in our area, that district, making it good, making it better. And those are some of the things we see because the children are not there, their family are not there, so they don't feel like they see the need to do that. So they just treat it anyhow.
But
Anyways,
the reason you will have a lot of Sandy that will do such thing is because we do not use the justice system. We do not enforce laws. So we're talking about the laws. We have the laws, but we are not enforcing those laws to ensure that we do not have that kind of Sandy, right? If the laws are being enforced, President Rwanda, will you do that in Rwanda? No. So if laws are being enforced, Sandy will now be forced to keep his children in Liberia because Sandy will not steal anymore. On top of his $5,000 monthly salary, he won't steal anymore to care for his family outside of the country. Once we are able to limit Sandy to just his salary, you will see that he will no longer afford to send his children outside of Liberia. They will be forced to stay in Liberia. And now Sandy will be forced to advocate for better education, better health care, and better, electricity in Liberia because he knows he cannot afford to send his children outside of Liberia.
I don't want to comment 1 minute. I think you mentioned Rwanda.
so quickly so we can move on.
Yeah. So, one thing I learned from Paul Kagame is that he always tell the people that he does not govern Rwanda on the constitution or the laws. He govern Rwanda on the choices of the people. So the people choose that they should go this way, even if there is a law that they should not go that way, or the majority choose to go that way, it's fine for the country. So that leads me to the point that when you have a president in the country and you say that all my ministers, you will only be appointed as minister of this country if the family lives in Liberia. Automatically, I don't care what if you want to be minister, your family will be here. If you don't want to be minister, you get a family outside the country. I think with that, it is the choice of the president and the choice of the Liberian people. So I think laws will be there, like you said.
What's the difference? What's the difference from the president telling you that than having the laws that also said that and said that you cannot run for election if you don't have this done? Isn't that the same infringing on somebody's freedom of whatever? And if you don't want to accept it, you don't put yourself in the election. If you want to put yourself in the election, then you have to accept those rules. What's the difference there?
The rules is resident, and resident is defined that you were in the country in a particular given year. So if I'm residing in Liberia and I'm also living in the United States, if I take my vacation and enter with my passport in Liberia in December and leave in January, it means that I resided in Liberia in 2025. And the resident clause will not go against me. The only way I will not be, if the time says you have to be consistently in the country for 3 to 4 years, the election, it means you need to come and go back and come and go back. Election commission will not say you did not reside in Liberia because you entered the country and you left. It is deemed that you reside in the country for a year. So the laws will be there, but the policy for the president will be much more clear than the law because anybody can violate and bypass the law, but you cannot violate the policy of the president because he knows his policy, he knows what he wants.
Thank you. So moving on, guys. So there's war between the Senate and Minister Crow, the labor minister. So I think it was yesterday in Liberia. The minister stated that he had a press conference, and I'm gonna read a little bit of it. I hope I can, because it's a bit long. So let me see here. Monrovia, Tuesday, June 17. June 17, 2025, during a regular press briefing hosted by Minister of Information, Culture, Affairs, and Tourism, Labor Minister Cooper Cry clarified recent public concerns regarding the issuance of work permits to foreigners under the administration of President Boakai. Minister Cry stated that the Ministry of Labor did not issue over 10,000 new job permits to foreign nationals, as speculated. Rather, the permits passes were largely renewal of those previously issued under the former administration. I don't see the difference there. We received 9,000, the minister said, we received 9,468 applications for regular workers, 948 for graphic workers, and 558 for ECOWAS citizens. Of these 857 applications of these 857 applications were denied, while 10,974 were processed in total. Try to explain. Among the approved permits, 8,792 were for regular workers, and 887 were for graphic workers, and 438 were for ECOWAS citizens, making a total of 10,978 permits. Out of this, 7,633 of about 75% were renewal, while 2,486 were new work permits issued under our administration, he clarified. Minister Carr emphasized that the government remains committed to prioritizing its citizens in the job market. As part of this effort, the Labor Ministry has visited numerous companies across the country to encourage greater employment opportunities for Liberians. He noted that any foreign company wishing to operate in Liberia must be willing to hire more local workers. However, the minister acknowledged key challenges facing the ministry, particularly the lack of local expertise in specialized fields. He pointed out that most of the companies currently operating in Liberia were established prior to the current administration, and many of them urged that they need to bring in foreign specialists due to a shortage of experienced Liberian professionals. To address this issue, Cryer announced that the ministry is actively working on solutions focused on capacity building and skills development. We are experienced. We are committed to educating and training Liberian, ensuring they gain the experience necessary to take on more roles in these companies. This includes a learn while you work model that will prepare our citizens for full employment, he said. Despite these challenges, Minister Crowell highlighted noted progress in increasing the numbers of Liberians employed across various companies. He cited several examples. B Mountain Mining Company in Cape Mount employed 2,766 Liberians in 2023. That number has grown to 4,000. Senegal, Cigar, what is it? Cigar, never heard of that company, but Cigar Brother increased their employee workforce from 1,573 in 2023 to 2,386 by the end of 2024. Meta Steel, our favorite, that's Asala Mita, right? Has 1,645 Liberian workers, which has now increased to 2,244. Firestone, Liberia also saw an increase from 4,827 to 5,232. Minister Clark concluded by reaffirming the government commitment to employing Liberians through jobs creation and skills training, ensuring the blah, 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 blah. So, with this being said, right, the CSA director, Josiah Joker, also had something to say. He met in a Senate briefing. No, he met with the Senate in front of the Senate today. He also wanted 1 second, let me pull that communication. There we go. Okay, by the Senate. He also made a revelation today that ArcelorMittal have 3,000 Indians workers. So let me send it I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to pull up there something. So here it is. The CSA boss was invited to appear before Senate for the Liberal Senate of a whole. Okay, we'll pass that one. I think as a whole, that's what they meant to say. On the job issued by construction companies to foreign and Liberian specialty jobs exclusively set aside for Liberian, whatever the person is writing, but we'll just go by it. Hold on 1 second. Let me try to. Holy Spirit. Yeah, so the CSA boss also highlighted that I said I don't know how many foreigners they're supposed to employ, but he highlighted that they had 3,000 of those workers are Indians. With this, here we are again. The government, according to the labor minister, is committed to employing Liberians. And these numbers that he's calling to me, I don't see something that's so huge apart from the one he calling from the foreigners, right? Isn't it? Well, if Liberians are 1,000 something, foreigners are 2,000 or something. So I mean, the whole rigmarole that we would say in Liberia. What are you guys? Is the minister really honest with the people here about this job creation or more? You know, he's more about creating revenue or generating revenue, should I say? Arthur, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so sorry. I'm calling from Liberia, and the
Oh,
time here. Yeah, I'm calling from Liberia, so
you're
the time
Michigan.
I will try to join the show, and maybe I'll prepare tomorrow. I don't know if it is Monday. I don't know if it is throughout the week, but so long I have the link, I'll be continuing to join you people. But I can say what is happening in the Senate is a good debate, but I think it's much more political. Yeah, if you listen to uh, the the minister,
Mm-hmm.
it's about the NDR, the Labour Party strength with Darrell DeLong and 2029. How people can bring the other person down to make sure that they can have some lead. Because if you really look at what is happening in Liberia, all of us know that the government has always favored foreigners over Liberians in all areas. And one of the example is because the laws we have in our country says that every year, if you are a person of not of Negro descent,
Mm-hmm.
and, you have only 1 year to be in Liberia. So if you have that 1 year to be in Liberia, after that year, you have to get a work permit or you have to get a resident permit.
Mm-hmm.
And because the government officials can use that law, that immigration law against um, yeah, the white. I don't want to call them the white, but people who are not of Negro descent, they will work with them, do businesses with them, because they know that if for example, if a very person high up work with you and say, look, we'll give the contract for $2 million, but
Mhm.
though you want only 1 million, but we'll add another 1 million there, so you can transfer it to our account, and you have a very big business in Liberia, and you are not a Liberian, you prefer giving the person the 1 million, and maybe if you add 200,000 to your money, you prefer doing that because you know that if you don't do it, they will use the immigration law against you. But when it comes to Liberians, they know that you cannot bring that deal to Liberians. So the government officials over the years will constantly work with these foreigners because they know that it is only with them they can be able to get a lot of resources from kickbacks. Like the deal with Liberians are not getting the kickbacks. So I think that's my only take about it. But I think it's a war to 2020 to 2029.
Wow, you see that as a war. So, I mean, is there anything that can be done in the Senate now by these senators that will not be considered political?
Yeah, they just have to be sincere. And
But how do we know
uh,
they're not sincere now?
because of what happening. The labor minister was telling you what occurred between he and Darrell DeLong, and all it's about DeLong and the labor minister. DeLong and the labor minister. It should not be about DeLong. It
It's
should be
about the
about
Senate.
yeah, it should be about the Senate, a bipartisan approach. A lot of people get a companies in the country, counties, and they know what they're getting from the company. They're not pushing anything. So it's just about DeLong. It should not be so.
Okay, Sandy, what do you think about it? You think this is yeah, politics? You think the labor minister is being honest? You think people, I don't know what Mr. Arthur said, should be sincere? How do we know here that this is not a sincere fight? Because to me, I mean, we talked about it yesterday, and so it seems like a sincere fight to me because our people are facing this, right? So when we see our lawmakers raising these points, it's good for us. But Mr. Arthur is saying like, no, this is not what it is.
Well,
Talk about.
I'm enjoying the view from Arthur, and he's on ground. He's well
Mhm.
equipped. He knows the issues there. So I'm enjoying the debate tonight, and I appreciate you, Arthur, for joining us tonight. Join us again every night.
Absolutely, yeah.
But here's my take on this. I mean, I'm not going to assume that DeLong position is political. I think we need. I mean, he's a politician, right?
Right.
But I think we need someone that will voice out issues confronting the Liberian people. So if a senator is saying that giving out works permit to foreigner is an issue, which now is being elevated across the country, that prompted the labor minister to come up to provide us some data. I think that's a good step, and we need more people to speak on issues like this. But here's my position from based on what the labor minister provided today. I mean today or yesterday in Liberia. Now, I think, just giving what you read and what I follow, that Minister Kraft, breakdown of the work permit figures, to me is an attempt to calm public concern, amid, growing anti-foreigner sentiment that is growing across the country. While 75% being renewers, you talk about those 75% permits are renewal. While that sounds reasonable, but you are issuing nearly 2,500 new permits. That still raises questions about how vigorously the Liberian first policy is being enforced. So we can say, okay, 75%. You said it's renewal, but you give out 2,500 new permits,
Right.
right? So how is this Liberian centric? How is it Liberian centric, especially in a country where we see high youth unemployment? You know, and then the optics of any large number of foreign permits, regardless whether it's a renewal, or it's a new permit, it's politically damaging.
Do we know? Do we even know that when once you have a work permit, it cannot be revoked or it cannot be denial renewal? It's because it's there. So it's. I mean, he didn't say right. So
Right. So basically, he's issued back they issue them back the permits. Like, to your question, whether it can be revoked. Yeah, I mean they can be revoked. So the foreigners are not entitled to work permanently. When they apply for renewal, you can revoke it. If you feel like that position should be given to Liberian, you can revoke it and then issue it to Liberian. But I think the argument also that we lack local expertise.
That's what he said.
It is true, right? Liberia suffer from a shortage of technical and vocational skill. We do know that. Especially in sectors like mining, agriculture, industrial manufacturing. But this has always been a debate. We know this. This for decades now. We know this is an issue. So what companies like ArcelorMittal and Mental Steels and the rest will do is that they will often exploit this gap, by overstating the needs for foreign labor. They will say, "Oh, we don't have these skills in Liberia," but you are overstating that. You are doing it. Why is the government, whether past or present, why have they now enforced aggressive training or skill transfer clauses? Why have they not done that? This is not new. For us to stop hearing this, there's no trained Liberians. Our government need to enforce that Liberians are getting the necessary training. Okay? They should do that in their foreign service or in foreign investment agreement. If a company is going to work in Liberia, mandate them to train Liberians. While you bring people to work for you temporarily, mandate them to train Liberians. The minister also cited that in employment gain, that there are some employment gains showing that Beer Mountain, the Cigar, Firestone, and others have increased their Liberians higher. Look, he was just trying to shift the narrative. Okay? We don't know the quality of those jobs.
Absolutely.
You say Beer Mountain hired this, Cigar hired this. We don't know the quality of those jobs, the wages, the benefit, safety conditions, upward mobility. We don't know any of that. Most of those companies have been accused or have been known for low wages and exploitative contracts. They will hire Liberians to do the mediocre jobs, and they will pay them minimum wages, put them in unbearable living conditions, while the foreigners enjoy, the luxuries. We know that Liberians are staying in tents. We know that Liberians for, Mental Steel, ArcelorMittal, we know that Liberians are staying in containers. So why it is true that you are flagging out there are additional jobs? What is the quality or the qualities of those jobs? You talk about skill development. The premise of a learn while you work model. It is encouraging. I must commend them. It's encouraging. But is this our first time hearing this? No. Liberia has heard similar plans from past administrations. What we lack is the implementation. We do not implement these things. We come to the Liberian people, we say we will do this, but we do not implement them. Would there be real investment in TVET, technical and vocational education and training? Will there be real investment in those areas? Will our government now mandate those companies to prove training outcome? And who's going to monitor it? We see failure across the government. Without strong monitoring and enforcement, again, this promise could become another recycled political or policy promise, right? It will never come to fruition.
So, Cindy, this was something that he said too. He said that the civil servant boss is overstepping his boundaries, right? Whatever he was saying about the job and all of that was out of his reach. So, I'm guessing he's saying that he's supposed to be on top of these things, right? As a minister. And we still have our people. I know he hasn't been there. He's just been there for a year or so. But we still have people complaining about, safety in their jobs, the environment, right, that they work in. And like you said, low wages and things like that. So if he's not pointing it out and the civil servant, the boss, is there something wrong with that?
Well, I mean, the government must function. I do not know. You cannot overlap your function as well. But
right.
If the civil servant, I believe part of their responsibility is also to ensure that employment to Liberians are being tracked. So it is the civil servant agency boss. If he knows the data, I see nothing wrong with him flecking the data to the Liberian people. And what the civil servant boss said today kind of posed a contradiction between what the minister is saying, right? The civil servant director is saying that, look, we still have, several jobs that are being given to foreigners, and we are not against foreigners working in Liberia.
Not at all.
But we are against Liberians being exploited. We are against Liberians being marginalized. We are against foreigners having the good jobs and our people have the sweeper job. And our people living conditions, even when they are employed, becomes unbearable. That's what we are against. So my disappointment in the minister's statement, again, one of my disappointment is that he still referenced the past administration. He said, look, these renewals are not new. These permits are not new. We are renewing them. These were permits that were issued during the past administration. But what are you doing different?
Right.
So to your question, Amy, you asked, do they have to renew them? If you feel that these were granted by the past administration, you do not have to renew them. You could subject those entities, those businesses, to employ more Liberians, or even if you are renewing them, reduce the number. Reduce the numbers and increase the number of employment for Liberians. If we are not seeing that, your reference to the past administration is pointless.
That was my point too. So when you talk about renewing, that you met these permits there, so you had to renew. No, sir, you don't have to renew them. If you felt like, okay, this time they didn't have the expertise, now they do. Okay, we're cutting it down, or all of these permits has to go because you have Liberians who are qualified to do these jobs. So I don't know where he came from with that. Like, I think it's the same thing like he said, influence the like we inherited them. So if you inherit them, you have to keep them going. I don't think that's what it is either. I don't know, but I know better to know that, right?
Right.
Thank you, Sandy. So we are moving on. I'm trying to get a communication also, but I can't get the whole thing. But I have a little bit here, right? The president today went to the Liberia Broadcasting System. Liberia Broadcast, the LBN headquarters in Pinsville on Tuesday to do a inspection of the ongoing work there. Oh God, what is my notes?
The ELBC?
Yeah, EBS or EB, the
Yeah,
A,
yeah, yeah, BS, yeah,
EBS,
like broadcasting system, LBS, something like that. I
yeah.
don't know your political term there,
The
LBS, like
acronyms can throw me
broadcasting system.
they can throw me off too. Yeah. So
You,
he said something that was very
UJ
catchy.
Fagon system.
Okay. He said something today. He reaffirmed that the commitment to transform the state media house into a fully functioning public broadcasting. Where's the right? I had to think it, but it disappeared. If you have it, there, can you read it, please?
I don't.
I don't know why it's not pulling up. Yeah, so the president was there today. While I look for it, I was just say a little bit of and letting the people know that when he was running for president, he was asked what was it that he was gonna do as a president that he didn't do as a vice president. And he said something about the race car it, has gotten on the track. So that was just that was the thing that I got from it today that was kind of funny to me, and I think it was worth talking about, Sandy. And we had some of our brothers, from the psychometry saying stuff like, "Oh, he's not doing anything. What is the risk? What is the risk card? We're not seeing it." Something. So, Sandy, do you think the president, in your believe your objective minds and reasoning, you think the president is actually doing something? You think the risk track is actually on the track now? It's no longer in the garage, according to the president now. You're muted.
I'm saying he's the president. Let us not be too quick to praise the president here on every move he makes. But here's the thing.
We're not praising him. We're talking about what he said today.
Well, look, the president, his message was around. He made an emphasis. He emphasized on the importance of bolstering institutional credibility and improving public service through modernized media infrastructure. Okay, basically his visit today is to reinforce his commitment to improving the media, public media in the country. Now, we know the importance of public media in any given democracy, right? Speak true to the power, engage with the people, allow the people to have their voices, outlined, and the government message development agenda plans must be shared through, public media. But the important aspect is again having the ordinary citizens to engage with their government. So we thank the president for enforcing that. I don't think this is
all in all, Sandy. Not what the president wants to do at the LBS, but the whole thing about he not doing anything as a vice president, right? And he said he was a race car parked in the garage that we couldn't hear about. That was one of the slogans we had in it, in the whole election. Oh, the man said he was a race car park. The man said he was a race car park, like as a vice president. But now he's telling us that the race car is no longer packed in the garage. So I'm saying overall, what the government is doing, what you are saying so far, you think and he said it today. Do you think the race car is still packed in the garage, or you think the race car?
There are two different scenarios.
BS. We're not talking about LBS. So we can give that to the president.
There are two different contexts that you are speaking from. The president is different from the vice president. Mm-hmm. Vice President Joseph Boakai is different from President Boakai. I have always argued we do not need the position of vice president in our country. It is worthless. It's not important. It's redundant. It's paying somebody free money for doing something that an assistant to the president or even uh, 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 I'm trying to find a word that somebody else could do. We're doing double jobs in the country. We don't need vice president. But I come to race cars versus, I'm seeing some people say the car now is well oil, the car is outside of the garage,
You
the
know, you
car is
share
on
that.
Lane Laborde saying the car now is on a speeding track.
You share that.
The
They like,
car is faster than the train between Washington D.C. and Philadelphia. Look, look,
they like welcoming for you.
look. The vice president then was not doing as well as he may be doing now because he was working on the direction of a sitting president.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we compare his work as a president, is he doing better? We can give him some credit. We see that he's up a lot more. We see that he's, on the go a lot more. But there are things that the president should also work on. We see corruption is still an issue. We see the issue of injustice is still an issue. We see where the president backed a regime speaker, even though the justice
Oh boy.
served
Let's not
clearly
press.
told us who won that case. So, what should we take? Should we just ignore the fact that the president is disrespecting the Constitution on one side and doing quote unquote good things on the other side? There must be a clear direction, an equilibrium. If the president is going to work for the Liberian people, the president should also respect the Constitution of our country.
And
I
do
am
you
not here. I am not here to praise him, President Bouakai. President Bouakai is doing exactly what he was elected to do as president of the Republic of Liberia. In fact, we demand more from him.
okay, Sandy? So the whole idea of a praise sinking, I think, is a little bit something here. If you are employed at a company to do a job and you're doing it right, right? Should they say, "Oh, let's not acknowledge Sandy for doing his job because he will hire to do that job. He's being getting paid for it, so we shouldn't acknowledge the good work that he's doing." If they do that, then they're praise singing you. Is that what you're saying?
As a regional director for the company I work for, I do not get praises for all the good things that I do. I am expected to do those things. Listen, I'm expected to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expected to raise our revenue. I'm expected to ensure that quality is met. I'm expected that we are efficient in our productivity. I'm expected to ensure that we are the top. I'm expected that I continue to promote competitive advantage. That's
So,
an expectation. There are some times when we do so well, there will be recognition of the department. There will be recognition. I will get recognized. But not every single good that I do I expect the people to worship me or praise me. But here is the thing.
won't you be
Everything that
a
I do,
little extreme?
listen, 1 second. Everything that I do wrong, even if it's a tiny thing, I'm expected to be corrected. But I'm not expected to be praised for every good thing because doing good is an expectation. Doing wrong is not an expectation.
So you're not a president of the country. So
Is it you asked me a question and I'm answering your question based
you're
on
not,
what you asked.
yeah. So you're not a race car park, or you're not considered a race car park. So when you talk about a race car getting on the track, that is not a praise singing, or that is not like you said. What did you just say? I forgot the term you used. So I think calling this out does not mean you're praise singing. Not just the president. In our society, right? People are used to doing the wrong thing. They think it should be this way, or and people are kind of immune to that now. So when we see a little good thing being done, I'm not saying the president has been perfect. You had the 1 year is 6 months, whatever. No, absolutely. A lot of lapses have happened, right? We call it out, and citizens. One no is not him disrespecting the Supreme Court, because I don't believe he did. The president quoted not the Supreme Court, but the Constitution, like you just mentioned here. The president quoted the Constitution when he was making his decision. So his decision came from what was written in that same Constitution. Has nothing to do with him disrespecting that. I think we have said that a lot of time, but every time y'all come here and say we have to correct y'all, maybe it will be new people listening at the time. So I had to throw that in there. But yeah, Sandy. So if he's saying something like that, I think we should all come and do analysis around it to see, okay, so what is he doing different now from what he was doing as a vice president? Because that was a question put to him, according to him, right? That what would you do different that you were not doing as a vice president? So now that he's telling us now that the race car has got it on the track, well, you just said it. He's doing a little bit more than he was the vice president. So that's the analysis that we're trying to make. Not to praising every little thing that he does, or even though we know that the only thing that something right now is the bad things that in the media, that's all you hear about. You don't hear about other things that are going on in the country, so people don't know what is it that the government is doing. So I mean, you and I, we are very objective enough to come in and talk about it.
I mean, I have commended the president on several occasions.
Yeah, no, not
I have
you.
commended. I just commended the president for the road network going to Grand Jide. I cannot wait to drive from Monrovia straight to Dweji Town, Grand Jide on a Kota road, paved road. So I commend them. I commend that they are continuing that project, which was started by previous administration. So I commend them. But should I just commend the president for going to ELBC or the Liberal Broadcast System building and say, oh, he's doing well because he talked about using the media, public media, to connect the people to their government? That is an expectation. That is an expectation.
You're not getting it.
Should I commend the president for delaying the yellow machines? The yellow machines that they said were coming to country many months ago. We celebrated that, they paraded the street with yellow machine, and now we see the vice president going back to China to renegotiate. You want me to commend the president for that?
Is he renegotiating? He say you want to open a can of worms? Yeah, that open it. Is he?
What is he doing in China? What is he doing in China? He going there to bring it?
Is he renegotiating, Cindy, or is he inspecting?
Yes.
Which one is it?
No. They are going there to renegotiate a deal. They're not getting nothing.
Okay, so
they said the machines were ready. We saw pictures. We saw President Waka pictures on those machines long before. And now they're going back there. They're showing off factories. They're showing off production factories, manufacturing factories, right, with no machines ready to be shipped to Liberia. But they told us before that the machines were ready to be shipped with pictures on them. So what they're doing now is renegotiation.
Okay. So with that, Sandy, when the yellow machine saga started, what did we hear? We heard outcry from the opposition, from imposition, from organization. They didn't do it right. They didn't go to PPCC. They didn't do the other thing. They didn't go to the legislature. They didn't do the one. So if the vice president, wouldn't you say that the administration is listening and trying to do it right now, that according to everybody else that was not being done in the first place? So if they are doing that now, why should we call it a lying in the first place? And should there be a problem that the listening trying to do it the right way now, that according to people was not being done in the first place? Or some people said that the amount that were called, it was too much money. So if they're going back on that to redo it, what is wrong with that, Sunny?
I am always for doing it the right way. I have nothing against the government trying to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. We cannot still ignore the deception from the beginning. And that is the deception we are flecking.
How is that
the yellow machines, the yellow machine, the red machines, the blue machines, was to be in country by now, according to the government. Now, in recent time, we're also told that the contract deal was sealed. But now we've seen the vice president going back to start a new deal. That's what I'm flagging. I'm not against that. I'm just flagging the inconsistency. I'm not against the vice president going to negotiate, to meet with a manufacturing company. I'm not against that. I am only flagging the inconsistency which has caused delay. And last night I spoke similarly to this issue. Sometimes maybe the government just need to keep quiet until these things are implemented. But coming and crying, wolf, snake coming, we can't see the snake. Let the snake come before you tell us the snake is here. But you cannot keep us elevated, spiritually elevated, ready for our 13 mission, was it 13 or 30 machine graduates supposed to receive? How many graduates supposed to receive? I think what 30 pieces.
285, right?
Yeah, but graduates already received 30 pieces, I think.
You and they are graduate, I think. I don't
so,
know.
We were elevated, ready for our 30 pieces, and now we have to wait until the machine can even be made. As of now, they haven't even made them yet. Nothing. They don't find the iron yet to even put it together. You must like in the Mamata. They don't put it together yet. But the government came to us. But why are they going to factory? If they are together, why are they going to factories?
Cindy, you're missing the whole thing here. Those machines was ready. They were ready to come down. You seen them, and you seen the President Barack picture on them, which was a bad idea. I didn't like that either. The picture thing. You seen those things. But then people said that was the wrong thing to do, so they scrapped the whole thing. They cancel it, and they're trying to do it the right way. So who would you blame? Would you blame the administration for doing it the right way when they already had it? And they were bringing it in, and people said no. Would you blame them? Would you call them? Would you call that deception and call that inconsistency? Then people who make the noise and make them to go back, who would you blame in that situation?
We think the people that made the noise, that now made the government to drop it from almost $1 billion now to what? Small $1 million. You know the numbers. Million will help.
Stop it.
It was up there. Millions of dollars that those people were going to steal from the Liberian people. So we thank God that Spoon Network and other Liberians, Marty Collins and others, flagged this issue, made noise that brought President Boakai and the Vice President, the rest of them, to rethink their decision. I'm not against that.
Why then are you saying that they were?
I am only saying.
They brought something that said it was coming, and knowing that they didn't even put the hot iron that is to start knocking it, and all of them. So why would you say that when you're giving praises?
So after that episode, when the vice president stepped in, reduced the price, they came to us and said the price has been reduced, the contract is signed, the machines will be coming. That's what they told us. I mean, the machine will be coming. That means they are ready. They are coming. In fact, we were told this machine should be in country by now. Grand needed 19 pieces to be in country by now.
How much Marshall territory getting? We got Tyler. You have a Grand G that.
My Giddy was going to get 18. Grand Giddy get 19. 19 pieces that were going to go Grand Giddy should be in Grand Giddy by now. But as we speak today, the Chinese are looking for iron. They're looking for iron to make those things.
That's not
they haven't even made one yet.
That's not true.
So the machine will not even be in country maybe for the next 2-3 years. Maybe right before President Boakai leave, that's when we'll see those machines. Because the Chinese haven't started making them yet.
That is not true. So thank you, Cindy, but I don't agree with that. We will not get it. They start knocking the iron there. I think the iron.
We may not get those machines until President Boakai. They might even use them now for campaign. We won't get it until 2028. Then they will start using them as campaign. They will use them for campaign purpose. They will tell the Liberian people, "Oh, we bring a machine. Vote United Party again." I'm telling you, the Chinese have not started working on those machines. We have been following the vice president trip to China. All of the factory he been going to, I have not seen one yellow machine ready to be shipped to Liberia.
Do you know if these people have factories or not? I mean, they have houses that those things are made in it, or you're just looking at the factories and where the vice president is going. What if they are going there to just show him how these machines are made, how they are being processed, how they are being boxed to bring into the country? Why are you assuming that these machines, the one that was supposed to be given to Liberia, are not made yet, Cindy? Do we
Thank
know
you,
that?
Wilson. Wilson, thank you. They are still waiting for the factory that will do the production. That's exactly what's happening. I mean, if the machines were ready, even if we have 5 that were produced, trust me, the vice president will put it on video. We'll see it. You think vice president will just go to China, machine there ready? All the traveling, he traveling from one province to another province. VIP treatment he getting. The whole of today, the Chinese blocked their road for our vice president to be traveling. We saw the video. This guy, Slanga was sharing this video where an entire convoy, over 2 hours, the Chinese people blocked their road for our VP to pass. All of that accommodation he getting. You think if they have even 5 machines ready, they're not going to put it on those videos to show that 5 machines were ready? They are still in the building process.
Sandy, I'm about to drop the link in the comment section. Whoever wants to come on and participate.
You're join on. Wilson, you're come.
Join us, Wilson. Don't make me to come get you. I told you to join us on this show. We need a solution here. Don't be scared. Come on and make your points. I like the something. So I'm gonna drop it in a second so we can come on and you know.
Well, it is true. This could be a scam. This could be a delay tactic. In fact, this could be a campaign message or campaign platform for Jeremiah Cohn come 2029. This thing will be
that communist propaganda.
This thing will be so delayed that Jeremiah Cohn will run on this as a campaign message propaganda come 2029. I mean, they are still baiting. They don't know which factory will do the work yet. So
not disputing that fact, right?
Exactly.
But the fact that you're saying that they have not made these machines yet. How do we know these factories? All right, let's say Cindy Incorporated or whatever. That's just something. Emmy, Marshall Territory Factory, whatever. They chose me, or they chose you to make those machines, right? How do I know that you don't have a warehouse, that you have some of those things made and they are in the warehouse? How do we know that? We don't know that. So for me to come here for fact and say that, they have not made them yet, they will not make them to something to do it as a campaign, something. Isn't that a little unfair to say?
We're talking about how many pieces of machine? 200 and what?
Well, I don't know if it's still 285, but from the beginning.
200. So now they reduce it.
I don't know. That's what I said. I don't know.
It better be 285 because graduates still 119.
You reduce the money, you have to reduce the machine. Who knows? That would you have problem with that if you have problem
Thomas, that's exact. No. The money reduction was not to reduce the machine. So if the government lied to all, we will hold them there. We said the 285, that's what we want. But the price you want to pay for that is exorbitant. It's too much. Reduce that price. There are other companies that will give it to you for less. Don't go to that Buka Denso in South Africa to steal from us.
But what if those other countries don't have last price?
That's why we left South Africa. That's why we left President Bwaka's best friend in South Africa. It was President Bwaka's best friend.
No last price.
It was President Bwaka's best friend who wanted to steal from us. So we said, no, leave your best friend. Let's go engage other companies. And that's why we're in China now. We're trying to get a Chinese made. They said,
exactly. You get what you pay for. Why are you complaining now? You get what you pay for. You want to add cheap? They get a cheap one.
We're going to China now to get a Chinese made. I hope when they get to graduate 1, 3, 4, then they will not fall.
Well, break that around the road, just scrap it and just keep going because that's what we pay for, right? So
on a serious note, even if let's say they have the material, the company that will be used have the materials ready. We are not seeing yellow machine in Liberia this year. We are not, most likely we will not see them until maybe towards the end of next year. 285 machine is what we will demand from the government. Anything short of that, the government lied to the Liberian people. And Jeremiah Kun cannot delay this process till 2028. We need the machines now, and they are not to be used for campaign purpose. They are for the Liberian people.
Roads, and the Liberian people needs a farm, and we need a good roads before 2028. We're not here for Jeremiah 2028, which I disagree with that, but we'll wait and see if your, I don't know, guess or whatever will be true. But hopefully, I hope it's not, right? So, yeah, thank you. We're moving on to, I don't know if you have the number of people to call in and make that point on this, what we have discussed so far.
Yeah, let the people call. Let someone then call.
Yeah, the number is on the screen, 267-586-5479. It's 267-586-5479. Let us not be the only one here running our lips, our mouths, and giving our point. You should also call in and give your point as well. This is all of our business.
The government should not bring these usual Chinese plastic machines.
See, now you being choicy, but you don't want to spend the money.
No, but again, I don't think you get a point. You're missing a point.
What is the point?
We did our market analysis, and we said the money that this South African guy is charging you for this machine is too much. You can get the same machine, same quality from other companies. We not say go and reduce or go to low grade. We not say that. We didn't say that. We didn't say go and bring us plastic machines. We didn't say that. We said the same quality, you can get them for less. And a Liberian business person proved to the government that he could bring those machines into the country for cheap.
And where do you think get them from?
The government, they're not going to get them from somewhere. He has gotten them. The man is known for shipping yellow machines to Liberia. The government, know that gentleman, and they said they will do it on their own. So now that you're doing it, we appreciate the vice president, who is also a business man who knows about business. We appreciate his expertise in business, and we hope that this negotiation that he has done will bring good quality yellow machines to Liberia, not the Chinese plastic one.
Let's hope so. The numbers is up. 267-586-5479. Call us and make your points on these discussions about the Senate, and we're not saying Senator Dillon because some people don't like to hear Senator Dillon's name. So Senator Dillon was the one who put this communication forward. That's why they try to make it look like it's a war, like personal war between him and the Minister of Labor, which is not. He's only advocating for his people, for the Liberian people, like he should be doing his oversight, and he put that communication on the floor, and the rest of the Senate and all of them, this is their fight. It's not just him, but the reason why his name keep coming is because, I think everybody happened the same way too, right? When Senator Nyan Twine put the communication for Asada Mita, we keep calling Senator Nyan Twine name, right? But that's a fight for the Senate to take on. It's not just him. So all the Dillon's haters and Dillon's lovers, we gotta let you know. So don't come here with your Dillon just faking. This is the Senate's fight, okay? Leave Dillon out of this. He was the one who pulled the communication on the floor. That's why his name is being mentioned first. But the Senate and Minister Cry, the back and forth with the job permit being issued to foreigners while Liberians are there looking for jobs. And he keeps saying that the government is committed to creating jobs, but you giving all these, permits out. First, when he went to the Senate, he said, when the senator asked him about what are those jobs that Liberians are not qualified for that you're giving out permits for. He said he did not know, Cindy. That's what he said, right? From the first time, he said he never knew. So, and the senator said he felt like the minister was misleading them, was misleading the public or whatever he was. He was not being honest when he said that. And then now he's coming back now to give us the data about these jobs that were being given out and experience and expertise and all of that. So call in and give us your talk on that, right? Especially those of you who are in Liberia, who are talking about, oh, job, the government should create job. The jobs you're talking about is not going to be in the government because everybody cannot work in the government. Government creating jobs are in these areas, making sure that the companies that are in the country or investors are coming in the countries make room for you, Liberians, to work. That's the whole point of bringing their companies and their businesses in the country, not for them to bring the businesses that country out of their countries and then bring their workers behind it. Then what's the point of that, right? If you want to employ your people, just stay in your country and do it because you can't come in our country taking our mind, our resources, our minerals and stuff, and bring your own people behind you. Why Liberians are there? We're not saying that they can't bring people, but most of those jobs supposed to be given to Liberians. That's the whole point of bringing in people to do those things, So that's the whole argument. And so for some of you who are out there, people giving you placard to go stand outside and go against the Senate or the senator, all these senators for talking with each other, they don't mean any harm for you. Cindy, you want to say something?
No, I was just agreeing with you. The companies that are coming to the country and double dipping, pretty much. That's how I would refer to it. They come, they take the natural resources, and then they bring their people to work for them, and the people get the money, and so they take your natural resources and they pay their own people, and the people walk away with the money, and they walk away with your natural resources. They are stealing from us. So I think this advocacy, this Liberian first advocacy should be something that all of us should talk about. Yeah. It should concern all of us. I mean, I'm going to bring Rwanda into this again. I know you guys will be tired.
Yeah, all right.
You cannot do that in country like Rwanda. You got they prioritize their people. It's only like, bro, you go and you see a Lebanon men's store where you will see the same Lebanon people are the managers, they are the directors, and then you go to company like Salamita, Meta Steel, and those organizations, and you see their people all over the place, in the major positions, and our people are being left out to be the sweepers and the janitors. Our people are being left out to nothing. So it should concern us. Well, I'm grateful to Senator DeLong for flagging this issue. I hope this is not just theoretical, right? I hope the senators and even the executive will work together to enforce that Liberians are being given jobs. I'm tired of hearing this argument of we don't have skilled Liberians to do certain jobs. This is decades-old argument. It is time that when we are signing contract with those people, we put in those contracts that certain number of Liberians should be trained over a certain period of time. So, for instance, if the government is signing contract with Salamita, for instance, we can say, look, over the next 2 years, you are mandated to train maybe 5,000 Liberians to do this job, maybe 1,000 Liberians to do this job. We mandate them. That should be part of the contract. So that after those 2 years, those jobs can be given to Liberians. Instead of renewing the contracts, 75% of the renewals, the permits that were renewed, go back to the foreigners. And then the labor minister wants to convince us with the little increment in the Liberians' employment without telling us which kind of jobs the Liberians are being employed to and the conditions they will be subjected to. So he came out today and just gave us a blanket statement that doesn't explain clearly the quality of jobs that Liberians have been given to and why they are still renewing 75% of permits that were issued by previous administration.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah. So to I think we can just go ahead with a closing on that. If that was your closing, yeah. Because no one want to call. I guess this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great show. We can keep it brief. Thanks, to Arthur who joined us. Very knowledgeable about the issues in the country, so I appreciate his presence here tonight.
Yeah.
The interactions in the chat. I know, Lane Labo, and you're right. Sometimes you carry $6 and you can eat good meat and eat toboggi and all of that. It just depends how you utilize the $6. $6 can give you quality toboggi. So your reference is to the yellow machine.
Let me see.
Right. So the reductions in the price should not reduce the quality of the machine.
Cindy,
So
that's not possible.
no, it's possible. It's possible.
Not
It's
possible.
possible. Maybe the South African.
It's not possible. Not possible.
It's possible in this case. It was maybe the South African guy. Look, prices different based on the negotiator. Prices different based on the location, but it doesn't mean that the quality of what is being sold is necessarily different. Maybe the South African guy is also buying it from China
Yeah.
and taking it to South Africa, and now Liberia want to buy it from him. He's also trying to make profit. So now that we are engaging with the producer,
Mm-hmm.
the manufacturer, directly going into the factory,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we will still get the same quality or even a better quality with a reduced amount that we're going to pay. And then also we know that there was some corruption surrounding this initial agreement. Mama Kabirete, then we know that they were trying to get their own kickbacks.
Really?
So they have increased the price so that when Liberians pay that price to them, they will get their kickback. Now that the kickback was battled by Spoon Network and other media and other people, hopefully the vice president.
Do you really think that Spoon Network was the one that called the price down on this?
Oh, it was the public cry. It was the public cry for sure. And who led that public cry? We give that credit to Spoon Network. It was picked up by people like Martin Colley and other folks, but the outcry from the Liberian people forced the government to drop the initial agreement or the initial contract that was signed with the South African guy and move on to start new negotiations. So it was the public cry. We gave this to the Liberian people. We must continue to cry out when we see things going differently that do not support the development of our country.
Absolutely.
If the public cry wasn't there, at this time we have paid for those 285 machines. Mama Kabirete, they have gotten their kickbacks, and we will have no idea. Then we move on. But it will be the country paying. We'll be in debt while Mama Kabirete and the rest, their children will be enjoying their kickbacks. So we must continue to cry. So let me end on this. It was a great show. We hope that Liberians will be prioritized when it comes to employment. Our people too deserve to have jobs, good paying jobs, on a good working condition. And I hope that the labor minister and the rest of our government, including the lawmakers, will fight for the Liberian people. Thank you, Amy, for having us. Wilson, Thomas, Ruth. Even though, Ruth, you told me to shut up plenty of time tonight, I will not shut up in the interest of the Liberian people. I will keep talking. Lane Labor, all of you, thanks for joining us.
So yeah, in my close, I just gonna Sonny, what Cindy said about the whole labor thing and the work permit stuff. And I seen the reason why I want to say this because not just that, but when the Senator Jan Twine talk about bad labor practices and Asala Mitana meeting that coming to the reaching, what should I say? the agreement and the things they were supposed to do in a concession agreement, they are not doing it, and people, getting up and calling and say, name my women name or so and so this and that. People like Cindy has already explained it, and I hope it go across to people who are listening. And most of the time, Cindy, those people who are doing those things are the ones who husbands and children and brothers have jobs with those people, right? And then when they hear these things from the senator, they put placard in their hand and say, y'all go sit and cry and say that there are people doing it, that there are people doing that. Your people have jobs. We get it. And we want them to have jobs. But these people are not doing you any favor. That's only how they put it. They are not doing you any favor. That is your country. That is your mineral, your resources that in that area. They're supposed to do more than that. That's why your leaders, and we cry every time say the leaders are not doing much about that, right? They're letting these people to just come in and do whatever they want. And if they are standing up now, if they are listening to us a little bit now and standing up for you and say, if they don't do X, Y, and Z, we will not renew that contract. You think those people want to pack up and leave, knowing what they're getting from Liberia? No, they will not pack up and leave. They will do what needs to be done. They will do the right thing. You stop acting like, oh, when they pack up to do my son, when I get a job, my husband will not be working, my sister and so will not be. No, what they are giving you is just chicken change. That's all to be doing more for you. That working with them and living in those areas. That is why you're saying. So instead of you standing by your senators and backing for them, you standing up with those people then, because that's what you're doing. When you're taking placard and going against your senators, saying that, oh, why are you talking against people? They created this job. They created why they're not doing this, but it's okay what they're doing. Don't say that. They're not doing anything. They owe you those things that they're supposed to be doing. They owe it to your children who are working there. They owe it to your husbands, to your brothers, to your sisters. So when they're standing up, you join them in that fight. They will not fire you. They're telling them to hire more of you. They'll fire you, then you take it up. You took up the fight, and they will tell the reason why they did that. If you don't want to say something because you're working with them, you don't want it to be like something against your job, you just be quiet and let those leaders do the fight. But you coming on and standing against them, we distance ourselves from Senator Yan Twain. He against, calling him, what is the word that we use in Africa? Progress, enemies of progress, and all of that. No, you are being your own enemies of progress. And I think we need to stop these things. If we are crying out and say that these people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, when they start to do a little bit, whether we believe it or not, give them the benefit of the doubt, and let's see how far it will go. Instead of sitting there and trying to fight them while they are fighting for us. Thank you guys for coming to listen to us, and we'll be here tomorrow again, God's willing. We really hope and wish that you'll join us. We'll be putting a link in the comment section, whatever party you're from. This is an independent platform. You from the United Party, you from the CDC, you from the ANC, you from the LPP, you from the whatever MPP. Come on and propagate your party message, and let's talk about Liberia.
No, bring the Liberia message. No party message.
No, you can't stop that. We'll talk about the Liberia message. We'll talk about it where we all need to come together and talk about Liberia. We will do it, but you can't stop them talking about their party. That's impossible. Not possible. So come on, we're expecting you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here with us. Ruth, thank you. Francis, thank you. Wilson, Lynn Lackwell, Thomas, the rest of you who are not commenting, not just watching, we appreciate you. And with that, we would like to say good night, and we'll see you tomorrow, God's willing.
Good night, family.
Bye-bye.